Taking on through the weekend vibes. Phins talk, we go live. Bobby Phins and Fish Tank Hank. Miami Dolphins, we got your back. Saturday noon is the place to be. Catching Dolphins talking fantasy. Live chatting stats so prime. Miami hustle all the time. News and views will pave the way. Dive on in, it's Phins talk today. Top plays and what went wrong. Breaking down each game so strong. Fans united, feel the beat. Phins talk, family can't be beat. Phins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby and Hank, they're your best friends. Podcast popping every week, no delay. Join the crew, Phins talk today. Phins up, we ride.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another episode of Phins Talk today on FTSN. I'm Bobby Phins Talk, joined always by the man, the myth, the legend, Fish Tank Hank.
Hankster, supposed to say the man, the myth, the legend, at least in his own mind.
That's right. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Welcome to another edition of Phins Talk today, Miami Dolphin fans. Busy day for Dolphins. The training camp is open up for the Dolphin fans. We got a lot of stuff coming in from training camp. Kader Kohu went down with an injury, so we're monitoring that. That sucks. But the Dolphins have signed two corners. They signed two corners as Fish Tank has fallen off. That means somebody called him. He loves when people do that as soon as the show starts. But the Dolphins have signed two corners, Jack Jones, formerly of the Raiders, and Mike Hilton of the formerly of the Cincinnati Bengals. BJ Adams was also carted off for what appeared to be precautionary reasons per Barry Jackson of Sun Sentinel. Let's get Fish Tank back in here.
Whoa!
Who's calling you? Tell him to stop calling. Who's calling you? I knew that happened.
Holy crap.
Actually, it's three corners the Dolphins have signed for those who are keeping track. It's Armstrong, who I think was drafted by Miami some years back, Jack Jones, and now Mike Hilton. Hilton was the more promising signing. Let's see here. Oh, Hank fell off again. Oh, nope. Okay. So Hilton has 13 career interceptions. Jack Jones, get into that. So make sure I find this here. If I look it up on my computer, the reason why I can't do that is it starts to slow everything down. Of course, when I start to pull it up here, so forgive me. But what are we going to do today? So Fish Tank and I, as we recap of what's going on at training camp, our main event for today is talking about the Dolphins Ultimate Team. For those who play Madden, there's the Ultimate Team. So I started thinking, man, what is the Dolphins Ultimate Team? Now, let me tell you why it may have been harder for me. Since I was, I grew up with the Dolphins in the 90s and the 2000s, and for me, those, Chris Chambers, Randy McMichael, Zach Thomas, Joey Porter, Junior Seau, Jason Taylor, Pat Surtain, Sam Madison, Vernon Carey, Jay Fiedler, Chad Pennington, right? Those are the guys that, because Marino I got in his last year, and it doesn't really, But like if we're talking quarterback, right? It's going to be Dan Marino, right? And that's just common sense.
Maybe.
Oh, so we're talking left tackle. You think about Richmond Webb. There's those obvious names that are out there. But let's what about running back? Well, could it be Mercury Morris? Could it be Ricky Williams? Someone like me? I think so, but that's what we're going to get into. And so that's, so join us, put there in your comments in the questions. If you watch the show after we're done, put it in the comments below the video and we'll react as we go. So let me get in here as we figure this out. Of course, it's been a busy week. It's gonna be a busy day for me. And not only are we, my cat, who we've had for 16 years, seems like she's towards the end here. The last few days has been getting worse and worse. So we're dealing with that. So that's what I'm going to do as soon as I hop off in here. Just go check up on her. I got her comfortable. later today, we'll on No Holds Barred Wrestling. It's a special episode celebrating the career of the biggest icon in wrestling, which is Hulk Hogan, who passed away just 2 days ago. So we're going to be doing that later today on No Holds Barred Wrestling. But Mike Hilton was signed by the Miami Dolphins, formerly of the Bengals. Shout out to Big E. Our thoughts and prayers always with him, but he is the first Miami Dolphins fan to get the Dolphins orange jersey fan of the day. He got the first practice jersey of for Miami. So the Dolphins signed Jack Jones, started 16 games last year, Fish Tank, for the Raiders. He signed a 1-year deal. He played for the Patriots back in 22. I don't want to get too far into that because I haven't had a chance really to go deep into there. I know Ben Valen, however you say his last name, who covers the Patriots, used to cover the Dolphins, was not very happy, or was kind of critical of that move just because of maturity issues. But we will get there when we get there. Quinn Ewers, I don't know if I know you've been busy, Fish Tank, but I don't know if you've been keeping track. But Quinn Ewers, there's a lot of good noise coming out of camp with Quinn Ewers. He's been.
You knew that was going to happen, though, Bobby.
Still, it's.
We knew this was a guy that could possibly come out of nowhere and do something. He had a little bit of an up and down toward the end, before he joined us. But I like the kid. Hey, there's all kinds of possibilities in the Miami Dolphins locker room right now.
100%. And, seeing Quinn Ewers, who, again, somebody who was coming out of high school, was the number 1 rated quarterback, was projected to be a couple years back, a first-round quarterback, lost his job to Arch Manning, struggled towards the end, made the decision to come out of college. He could have gone back to college, got a good deal, NIL deal, decided to come out, cost him money, but got drafted by the Dolphins in the 7th round. Again, we've talked about this, Fish Tank, I believe this kid's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder to show, hey, you guys missed out. I'm going to prove who I am. And so far in camp, there's been nothing really but good from Quinn. Minka Fitzpatrick, some news earlier today is that he has hired Drew Rosenhaus as his agent, and he has 2 more years on his deal, but he wants a new deal right now. So he's hired
already.
He had 2 years on his deal after traded from the Steelers, but he's looking on a new deal. The good news, though, for him is that many people were concerned because he had not had a press conference. He hasn't said anything. People are, no. But supposedly that's all planned. And when you got some film of him on camp, he was leading the defense, smiles on his face, leading the younger guys, which is good to see. And he actually had a very good interception earlier today on Zach Wilson. I was reading he contorted his body to get that pick. So that's promising. What's not promising, BJ Adams, Cater Kohu, both down. We don't need to lose any more corners. We did. And but we've got 2 corners signed with Miami, which are Jack Jones and Mike Hilton. So Fish Tank, I know you probably haven't had a chance to really look into those guys, but how do you feel? How are you feeling about Miami going after finally landing 2 corners?
I like it. And isn't Hilton out of the Vegas Raiders or something like that?
I believe he played with the Cincinnati Bengals.
We picked somebody up that used to play for
Jack
the
Jones.
Raiders.
Jack Jones.
Okay, he's a corner too, right?
Yes. Yep.
That's the only guy that I've really looked at, to be honest with you. And I mean, it's an okay pickup, but it's not gonna blow my socks off or nothing, Hey, having more cornerbacks to choose from.
It looks like Hank fell off again there. We'll wait for him to pop back in. But yeah, no, having more corners doesn't hurt, especially with what we didn't have. Maybe, Hank, if you could still hear me, my man, just go ahead and jump out and jump back in. Might be just a hiccup there. There he is. There he is. There's the man with the plane.
Okay, I think I'm back, bro.
For now. For now. But yeah, as you were saying about the adding more corners. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I love the fact that we need to add people, especially in the cornerbacks. We're hurting.
No,
We're
we
hurting.
are. For sure. Absolutely. So the more the merrier, it doesn't hurt. Like I said, I'm at a point now, at least you got some veterans back there. Um, I don't know. I don't think, and I've said this before, there was nobody on the market
Yeah.
available, in my opinion, that was going to move the needle for the secondary.
No.
I do think it's good to get a veteran presence back there, especially now with these injuries. Now with Cater Code, we don't know how serious that is. We don't know what's going to happen there. It
Yeah.
looked like he blew something when it was a practice play. It wasn't even a full contact thing. He just fell forward. I saw the picture or the video from Big E. So we don't know how serious that is, but Miami to come away now with two, Jack Jones and Mike Hilton, better off. We'll see how that goes. Again, Jack Jones, I think early on in his career was pretty solid. I got to get back to see what happened towards the end, but we don't know. Hopefully we could see maybe the Jack Jones early on in his career compared to what we saw later on. Same thing with Mike Hilton. They might surprise us. That's really all about this defense, especially this secondary. It's a bunch of question marks and it's a bunch of hopium, and I don't mean that to be a negative or a bad word. What I mean is there's like untapped potential there. We don't know what Jason Marshall's going to look like come regular season. We don't know what Cam Smith could do in his third year. Adding these two guys helps that. They can kind of slow those guys down and ease them into the starting role.
Bobby?
I can hear you good. But hey, what's up, Craig? Craig says he likes the Jack Jones pickup and Mike Hilton. And I think Hank is having some technical difficulties. We hear him, but I don't think he could hear us. But that's okay. That happens when you're live. So another thing, first off, Josh Wingate tuning in from Facebook. Appreciate you, my brother. Talking about Christian Wilkins. The beauty is Miami has built beyond Christian Wilkins and does not need him. It's a great point. The big news from the Raiders, talking about the Raiders, is that Christian Wilkins, former star D tackle for the Miami Dolphins, who Miami decided not to sign to a massive deal. He signs a massive deal with the Raiders. A season later, they cut Christian Wilkins due to I believe a foot injury, and they could not agree on a path forward with surgery. Wilkins was not welcoming or really go with their first opinion, second opinion, third opinion. He wanted to keep going outside of opinion. So the Raiders like, hey, I don't know if he really has any interest on playing. I don't know if he has any interest in getting better. So what do? They go ahead and cut him. So now there's a grievance that's been filed by Christian Wilkins, and they're going to go to court. But Wilkins, now recovering off an injury, is a free agent. Fish Tank, it looks like this is the first time you may have heard of this. I know you've been busy. You've been offline. Your reaction, Christian Wilkins, a free agent, injured though. What are you thinking about that?
Hey, I think with the bodies we have, are we talking just mainly about him maybe coming to Miami, or if
Would
he
you
did?
entertain that? Would you be interested in something like that?
I don't think we need him.
There you go. I think that's Josh Wingate's point. Josh is saying the beauty of Miami right now, especially with this D line, is Miami has built beyond Wilkins that they don't need him. Now that's why you don't have to overspend. If you go, hey, you know what, come back, take a year, but we're going to set a price for you. You can come back at this price. But the reality is you don't. You're talking about Kenneth Grant. Zach Sealer is coming in on a deal. You're going to have to re-sign Zach Sealer, extend him, and you should.
I'm still here, Bobby.
You're all good, my man. Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips. Those are those young guys that you've drafted and that you could build around. Benito Jones is another guy. So, yeah, you don't need Wilkins. I think you should entertain it. I think you could entertain it because it would be great to see Christian Wilkins back in a Dolphins uniform, and you got that rotation. That would be a strong rotation, especially if that situation with Zach Sealer doesn't fix up. But you don't need to do it. You don't have to.
No, but like you just said, he would be awesome to have in our rotation.
Yep, 100%.
Once he's healthy. See, but you don't know how long it's going to take him. Why would the Raiders get rid of him if it was going to be a quick turnaround,
Yeah, no, and that's the problem. It wasn't. The Raiders, if I could pull up what the Raiders had said about Christian Wilkins. Let's go ahead and pull this up very quick. My thing is, it's not like we're desperate for a D tackle. And if he's not even going to play. So here we go. Adam Schefter a day ago Raiders are releasing defensive tackle Christian Wilkins with the designation of terminated vested veteran. Due to how Wilkins treated the rehab from his foot injury he suffered last season, the Raiders voided the remaining $35.2 million of his guaranteed money left on Wilkins' contract last month. And today, Wilkins has filed a grievance with the Raiders, with the NFLPA. Let me make sure here.
Wow.
Okay, here's Jacina Anderson. Some league sources believe an incident involving a teammate may have factored in part into the Raiders' fatigue and release of defensive tackle Christian Wilkins. Beyond the management of his foot injury, as reported, the predominant cause, the Raiders have not officially confirmed an incident or complaint involving Wilkins and a teammate, while another direct league source confirmed awareness of a situation in which Christian was playing around, quote unquote, with the Raiders moving on, that he was playing around. The Raiders moving on from Wilkins Thursday, reportedly with the designation of terminated vested veteran due to conflict on the rehab process for a Jones fracture Wilkins incurred last October that led to the Raiders voiding the $35.2 million on the contract guarantees. The question is what altogether led to the escalation towards Wilkins' unemployment and forthcoming grievance battle with such punitive damages.
Bobby.
Go ahead.
How do they void a guaranteed contract? I don't get it.
I think that's why he's taking it to the NFLPA so they could fight for him, because that guaranteed means guaranteed.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there's a clause somewhere.
There has to be, because right there I did not see that part. Adam Schefter, that was from Josina Anderson. When she says he had there was a report of an incident with a teammate.
Yeah.
And in a situation on which Christian was playing around. We all know Christian Wilkins. We talk about those touchdowns. Remember when he injured his teammate running into a touchdown and he came running off the field? That's what he does. He's a playful guy. Did he play around a little too much? Maybe he hurt another player, or did he play around a little too much and pissed off another player and they got into a fight? And maybe the Raiders are like, dude, are you really hurt? Like, if you're that hurt and you're not going to play, the hell are you doing jumping around for?
Yeah.
So was that the situation where Las Vegas was like, why are we going to give you $50-something million if you're not willing to get your ass back on the field? Or you're not show effort to get back. Maybe that was the case. So I know
they have footage of him doing whatever because they film everything,
Absolutely. So it's an odd situation. Obviously, teams are looking into Christian Wilkins because he's a damn good player and you want him on your team. The beauty of it, as Wingate has said, Miami does not need him. They've done really well with that D tackle room. Let's go ahead and see if there's any more news. Okay, so Cameron Wolf reported that Kader Kohou's walked by our set a couple times after practice under his own power to get further evaluation. Walked around without much limitation, maybe a slight limp, no visible boots or wraps. That's good news. Very good news from Cameron Wolf. Covering.
Yeah, but I always walk with a slight limp too. So.
Me too, with a hip. So
does that mean I'm going to be able to play cornerback for the Miami Dolphins?
I don't think even if we were healthy, Fish Tank, we could do it. We'd still limp. But yeah, so there you go. So we'll wait and see as that goes on. And let's get into this, our main event, as we move forward and talk about our Miami Dolphins Ultimate Team. And Fish Tank, yes, I know you were excited when I told you about this last week. You were like, I'm going to work on it right now.
That's just because I'm really slow, Bobby. Don't try to make it like I'm smart or something. It's just because I'm real slow.
But
I have to start working way ahead of time.
That's right. I got you, brother. So, looking at let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So, again, for someone, Fish Tank, who's seen it all with the Dolphins, he's seen all the greats throughout his years, And for someone like me who's, really, you think of the late 90s, mid 90s, 2000s,
Yeah.
my favorite wide receiver would probably be way obviously different than Fish Tank, right? So,
Maybe.
but, this here. Oh, Scotty, man, please. Scotty just came back from training camp. He says, yeah, Scotty, let us know, my man, what you thought at training camp. What stood out to you? I'd love to hear. We're going off what we've seen on Twitter, the Cater Kohu injury, Quinn Ewers, Minka Fitzpatrick. What have you seen, my man? So there you go. Kohu went down with what looks like a serious injury. Right now, Cameron Wolf just reported, Scotty, that Cater Kohu was walking around with his own power, maybe a slight limp, no boot, no wrap. So that's some good news, but we will see how serious that is. It didn't look like it was a contact play when he went down. I did see that video from Big E. So I started thinking, Fish Tank, how should I do this? As the week on, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to keep it like great ultimate team of all time, because I started going, well, if Fish Tank does all time, maybe I could do my ultimate team. For like when, like, hey, okay, here's the ultimate team. And then here's somebody who's a 2000s, not late 90s kid ultimate team. But then I was like, no. I could talk about those guys, but let's keep it like it is.
Yeah, Scotty, I like yours. That's good to hear, bro.
Oh, there you go. Tua looked super sharp. Ewers looked very sharp. Ewers had the best three throws of the day. Wilson is garbage, terrible footwork, and terrible accuracy.
Wow.
There you go.
That's disappointing there, but
hey, Adrian, what's up, my man? Adrian, good day to you, sirs. Great day to you, my man. Great to see you, Adrian. Rainy Day Pod, guys. If you love everything Miami, you love wrestling, go check out the Rainy Day Pod. Like and subscribe to Adrian, man. He puts out some good stuff. Big E.
Hey, congratulations to Big E on the fan orange jersey, bro.
First orange jersey, fan orange jersey. He's done it. He got his. Well deserved, most deserved.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Congratulations, bro.
He'll make that trip to Pitt soon. I think UPenn for his health and all that, and so our prayers are with him. And I look forward to seeing him in February for the DCC. So let's see. HN wore the orange. Yep, saw that. And Madison had a big run. I did see that. So not a lot of people are talking about Alexander Madison. A lot of people saying he's gonna get cut. We're talking about Jalen Wright, who I know got stuffed by Kenneth Grant today. But people took Jalen Wright, Ollie Gordon. Not much people talking about Madison, and Madison had a big run. Our defensive front seven is going to be special, Fish Tank.
Yeah, see, I've been telling you that defensive line, man, we got some great players all the way across. You got it in the trenches. You got it on the ends. The only thing we all know what we're missing.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping, like I've been saying, I think that this is going to help offset a little bit of that the cornerback.
And this is big. This is what I love. I love what I just saw here from Scotty. The defense was solid today. They had the better day.
Yeah.
That is really encouraging.
Yeah.
Because we know what this offense can do. We know what we still have question marks. There's some concerns, but we know what this offense can do when healthy, when on the right mindset.
Whoa, Phillips. Did you see that, Bobby? Phillips lined up over the nose on a few plays.
There you go. Looks like they'll be playing around. Just got from camp. Oh, here's the Wayne D experience. Appreciate you, my man. Just got from camp on Tua. Looked good. Wilson actually wasn't that bad. Made some good plays on some not so great. If that D-line can stay healthy, it's going to be a great year for our trenches. I love that.
Yeah,
Two solid tweets, two solid chat messages here from Scotty and the Wayne D experience in regards of our D-line. So I love that.
We appreciate the update, Scotty. You're kicking it around.
Love it. Keep it going, guys. Keep it going. We'll react as it gets going here. Guys, everyone who's just tuning in, coming back from training camp, we appreciate you guys. You're watching Phins Talk today with Fish Tank Hank and Bobby Phins Talk live on FTSN. Today, we're talking training camp. We're talking the new signings by the Dolphins, Mike Hilton, Jack Jones, 2 corners. And then our main topic for today's show is the Dolphins Ultimate Team. Who's your Dolphins Ultimate Team? Ultimate quarterback, ultimate running back, receivers, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, corners. We're going to go through it all. We'll talk about what could be another option. That's how I thought about it, Fish Tank. We'll go with the main guy, and then I'll tell you if I had to go with someone else, I'm going with this guy. So we'll go ahead and start it off with the quarterback. Might be the easiest one to go here. Maybe. This is the Miami Dolphins all-time Ultimate Team. The ultimate quarterback for the Miami Dolphins is Fish Tank. Who do you got?
I have Dan Marino.
Shocker.
I mean, it's simple to see why. Franchise leader in passing, 61,361 yards, 420 touchdowns. What was it, like almost 5,000 completions, 1984 NFL MVP, 5,000 yards that year, NFL record then, 48 touchdowns, 9 Pro Bowls, 3 first team All-Pro, Hall of Fame 2005. He completely transformed the passing game for everybody. And once they opened up where you can't touch the wide receivers and you can't hit the wide receivers up the middle, forget about it. Things just blew up after that, and all the numbers went crazy, But, and you said if we have an alternate or something, that would be Bob Greasy. I mean, he was there 67 to 80, 2 Super Bowls, 8-time Pro Bowl. So he was no slack on getting the Pro Bowls either. And that was way back when. And you knew it was hard to get the Pro Bowl selection back then. But Marino's stats just dominate. So
look, one of the greatest pure passers ever in NFL history. And when you have players who some consider greater than him, right? When you have Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Peyton Manning, you have those guys. Peyton Manning's favorite quarterback is Dan Marino. Joe Montana was, who's the greatest? It's Dan Marino. The greatest QB. When you talk about the best passer in the NFL, it's Dan Marino. If Marino played, and everybody says this, if Marino played now in this NFL, he'd 7,000 yards, 60 touchdowns. He'd be butchering these guys. He played in a hard-nosed, and what he was able to do in his career in Miami, when you go back and look against who he's playing, what he was able to do against those guys under those rules, it was crazy what he did. So, and the way he threw, if you want to go to school on a quarterback, watch Dan Marino. Watch how fast that ball comes out.
Yeah.
And watch the precision. Watch the perfection. That's why he is Peyton Manning's. Like Peyton Manning's my favorite quarterback is Dan Marino. That says it all. Now, alternate, I think you're right on with Bob Greasy, right? 2-time Super Bowl champion. Marino never did that. Marino could not have achieved that, which sucks because if he had done it, even just one, there would be no argument with greatest quarterback of all time. And I'm talking about NFL, because he never did. That's why there's an argument. Now, if you said Bob Greasy, an alternate, and I think it's great. I'm going to say, as a kid who grew up, watching Dolphins in the late 90s, 2000s, whatever you want to call it, early 2000s and move forward, it was like, man, you think about all, quarterbacks after Marino.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be honest with you, obviously Dan Marino is the quarterback, but when I'm going to do a little different from you, because you said Bob Greasy and that was my answer, but I go, okay, I'm going to go the other route. I'm going to go as a 2000s kid who dealt with a lot of quarterbacks. And I'm going to say, if that's for me, out of all the quarterbacks that I've seen throughout my life, I would say Jay Fiedler won a playoff game. He never quit. He was fun to watch. So I would give that alternate so it would be Marino, Greasy, and Fiedler. And I know people, Tua, I get it. Fiedler's won a playoff game. Fiedler was fun, man. I know people hate on Fiedler. Like Wannstedt. I like Wannstedt too. I don't care what people say.
Yeah. Hey, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Bobby, there's one more thing that
Yeah.
Marino never gets credit for. And, you know, watching him for all those years and everything through the 80s, especially, um, he had a pocket presence like no other I've ever seen. His footwork while he was in the pocket was magic. He would just do a little shift to the right or to the left while a defensive lineman's coming straight at him. Just a little twist here and there and push him off to the side because he'd lay up square where they thought they had him. He'd push him aside, then throw the ball. I just always, he gets credit for all these statistics and stats, but if you sit there and watch film on him,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
footwork and his pocket presence, he knows exactly when to get rid of it almost every time. I mean, he got caught a few times here and there, but for the most part, forget about it. Bing. He knew when it was coming every time. That's why he got it out. He got it out so quick. It was amazing.
And there's more on Quinn Ewers from Scotty, who was there live at training camp. Quinn Ewers' footwork was solid. He's a perfect fit for our system. Hank, I was very focused on QB footwork today too, and Ewers were super impressive. So that's good to see.
Sweet, bro. Sweet.
People are sleeping on Quinn Ewers, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Of course, we want to see Tua last the season and be successful, right?
Yeah.
But if a quarterback comes in, I want Ewers. The kid when Cater went down, a bunch of us guys yelled out no, then yell out, chill out, Reek. There's Craig, because everyone relax. Kohu is fine. Just talk to someone that knows somebody on the medical, says Kohu is fine, tweaked his ankle, but nothing is torn, just needs some rest. There's some breaking news from Craig. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate you. Good to know.
Hit it, Craig. Right on,
Craig.
bro. Thank you.
Keep that up, Craig. Appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, definitely.
Wayne, I was freaking out when Kohu went down. The whole bleacher section went crazy. My goodness. Running back.
Yes.
Running back. The ultimate Dolphins running back on the ultimate team.
Hold on. Before you get to that, Bobby.
Okay.
I hate to interrupt you.
No, you don't.
But yeah, I kind of don't. But we have to have two running backs.
Two.
What team do you know that only had one running back? We have to have two running backs, not just one.
Oh,
And so that means you have to have four running backs. Now you could double up on the alternate or whatever if you want to, but we should have two running backs because we've always had basically a speed running back or, an in between those two, like a kick or somebody like that. And we always had the big bruiser like a Zonka or, we've always had those type of people in our backfield is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, back then, like, yeah, there's like you think of Ronnie Brown, Ricky Williams, but that was like who Ronnie was the starter, Ricky was the backup. Ricky would be the alternate at that point.
That's what I'm saying.
But Larry Zonko, and back then with Morris, I think Zonko was the fullback, but you had that 1-2 punch.
He was also considered a running back too. That's what's weird. He's considered both.
Yeah, that's I looked it up. I was seeing. That's why I wanted to double check when I was making this decision because it's like hard to leave Larry out of that spot. Yeah. But a lot of people consider him the fullback. Check on her.
Yes.
So but we'll go with that. We'll go if you want to go. We could let's go with the main back and then go with your alternate, and that would be your second back, Fish Tank.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Okay. Well, for me, it was Mercury Morris.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Yes.
Mercury Morris, he had almost 4,000 yards, and he was there from 69 to 75. And he had 3 Pro Bowls during that time. So half the time he was there, for 6 years, he went to 3 Pro Bowls. 1,000 yards in 1972, which was pretty impressive considering you had the other two there gobbling up yards too. And that was in 1972 alongside of Zonka, and his speed complemented, and that's what I'm saying. His speed complemented Zonka's power in the perfect season. So I would have to go with him because I was considering a running back and a fullback, which I consider Zonka the number one on the fullback side. And that's why I was thinking we should have two, but because obviously Zonka blows everybody away when it comes to fullbacks, for crying out loud. I mean, the guy was amazing. But if I had to look at our team, and the only reason Mercury Morris gets over Ricky Williams is because Ricky Williams was there for 8 years and only got 6,400 yards. So, little different. You know what I mean? So,
Hey, you know what? I love that. I really do. It makes sense. There's very, I think there's an argument to be had, right? And it would be a fair argument, a good debate, um, because of what Mercury Morris was and what he did for the undefeated team and what he was with Larry Zonka. And many people see that. I will roll with Ricky Williams on this, and maybe that's recency bias. Maybe that's because I was around during Ricky.
hey, I loved Ricky, bro.
I know. That doesn't mean you don't. I'm not saying you don't, right? But I'm just saying. I mean, this guy, there has not been a running back more fun to watch than Ricky Williams. 1,800 yard season. One of the most talented running backs in team history. Anytime he touched the ball, it was like gone. I mean, he did things that was like, whoa. I truly believe that if he had stayed, if he had continued to play with the Miami Dolphins, if he had continued his career and didn't get out and because of what he was able to do when he came back with Ronnie Brown, he still had that kick. He still was Ricky, just a lower version of that. I think Ricky would have gone down not only as one of the maybe the greatest. I mean, he's my ultimate running back here. He wouldn't have gone as the greatest Dolphin running back ever. He would have gone as one of the greatest running backs of all time if he had stayed the course. But life doesn't work that way. So Ricky is my ultimate running back for my ultimate team with Dan Marino. Mercury Morris is right there. And if I'm going again around my era, and I already went with Ricky and whatever, Ronnie's in that conversation. Ronnie Brown was a lot of fun. We got out of Auburn. Remember him and Cadillac Williams in that draft. Ronnie, the leader of that Wildcat year, which was a lot of fun when we went to the playoffs. I mean, passing and running and everything. There was so much fun with Ronnie Brown. But so I'd be like third alternate fish tank. But Ricky's my main one there. I'm going with Ricky. So
for me, the only reason that I can't put Ricky up there is because you had one guy that did a perfect season and got 1,000 yards during that, and also has the titles. You got another guy that didn't get as many yards per carrier, however you want to figure it out, because he only got 6,400. So it's just a matter of apples and oranges of what you want, and I think him getting those yards with kick and Zonka there, I'm just, that blows me away.
Absolutely.
Because I kind of, I was like, yeah, what about Mercury Morris? Because I was like, we can't, we all know Zonka was a fullback. So,
and that's why, like, going to the fullback very quick, Larry Zonka. Maybe, Dan Marino, when you think of Dolphins, recency thing, you think of Marino, Taylor, Thomas, but Larry Zonka is one of the most recognizable Dolphins and Dolphin ambassadors out there. I mean, and 72 Dolphins ambassador. One of my favorite videos of Larry Zonka, love watching his film, love watching old film of him running the ball. He's such a bruiser. He was just scary to watch. But one of my favorite films is when he went off on a question about the undefeated team. And it's like, he's older. It was only a couple years back, and he just went off angry. He sees cheesecake, and I'm like, I love this freaking guy. That's how passionate he is about Miami. That's how passionate he is about that team. But Hall of Famer, Super Bowl MVP, 5-time Pro Bowler, bruiser runner and of course from the 70s dynasty. You got to go Larry Zonka at fullback. And if I had to go alternate, talking from the kid in me, there's a couple of them, but I would go Rob Conrad. That was a guy I remember back in the day. Rob Conrad, 44. That would be my alternate at fullback, other than Larry Zonka, Fish Tank.
All right.
You're going with Larry too, right? There's no conversation there. We don't have to go there. Wide receiver, Fish Tank. Well, let's go wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. Where are you at?
All right. I loved the Marx Brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Marx Brothers got what they got because of Dan Marino, and Dan Marino got what he got because of the Marx Brothers. So those suckers, they were interwoven, those players. And it's hard to go against one of them. However, I'm going to. And that's going to be Paul Warfield is who I'm going to take first. And again, this is simple, man. The guy had 33 touchdowns in 60 games, 20 yards per catch, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame, 1983. Key to the 1972-73 Super Bowls with deep threat ability. See, back then, he was the man, the myth, and the legend on the field. And, he was there for 5 years. And, that's quite the feat. You know what I mean? That's a lot. That's a lot. 60 games. Wow.
Absolutely. Let me just say, everyone who's in the comments right now, I appreciate you guys chatting it up. Daniel, great to see you, my man. Jack Jones once picked off Mahomes twice in one game. Great to see.
That's averaging over 2 touchdowns a game. Slightly over two touchdowns a game. That's impressive.
Look at that.
Especially back then.
Craig, I love that. That's where I was rolling with. And I love that Fish Tank brought it up because yes, the easy answer, and I don't that's not disrespectful to them at all. The easy answer is to go with the Mark brothers, right? I mean, Miami's had a lot of great receivers in their time. But when you talk about great receivers with Miami, they're always talking about not a lot of people talk about Warfield because he's mixed up back there and he was old and but Paul Warfield, I mean, he was one of the best. Let me see here in my note there. Key weapon of the 70s, elite route runner. But what he was able to do, and Fish Tank said it eloquently, perfect. I would go with Warfield and then Clayton, 5-time Pro Bowler, Marino's deep threat. I mean, every time. And you could go Duper, right? Duper's right there. There's your 1-2 and then your alternate. If I'm going to go with, again, my era, right, Fish Tank?
They're all in my era. What are you talking about?
You were like, what?
Your era. They're all my era.
Fish Tank, let's think about this for a second. Your era, right? How old were you when Clayton and those guys played?
I was in my 20s.
Okay, so that you were younger. That was that was your team when you were younger. My team when I was younger was Chris Chambers, Jay Fiedler, Ricky. So Chris Chambers would have been, would be an alternate if I was to go with this route from watching the Dolphins from when I started to now. I didn't get to see Warfield. I see clips of Warfield, but I didn't get to see Warfield.
He played 70 to 74. I was around 6 or 7, so it's not like I sat there like,
You were like
of course it was the only thing on. If I got to be home, it was the only thing that was on was football because of my father.
There you go.
It's just the way it was. He laid on the couch, drank beer, and watched football.
Again, and I get it. And so Warfield, Clayton, Duper, easy. But if I had to take Duper, I'd put Chris Chambers in there as the
Hey,
alternate.
look. All right, let me put a couple in there now. Okay. That was wide receiver 1,
Yeah.
Paul Warfield. My secondary or alternative to him for the number 1 wide receiver slot would be Mark Duper. That's who my other, if we took Warfield out, it would definitely be Duper. He had almost 9,000 yards, but Warfield's championship, his championships prevail. If you got rings, sorry, but to me, if you got the rings, you get the lead. And that's how I did it. And the other one, my wide receiver number 2, would still be Mark Clayton. Because he had, what is it? Oh, man, I can't even remember. I know he did 2 Pro Bowls. And of course, with Marino, you know, obviously he did great things. And franchise touchdown leader, basically. 81. 8,500 receiving yards, 550 catches, 5 times Pro Bowl, led the NFL in touchdowns twice, and he was always Marino's go-to target. Always. That was the guy he was going to hit every time, mid to short, when he needed an out. That's who it was. And Dan Marino didn't throw the ball too short either. We all know that. So, he was zooming a laser down 40 yards like it was a 20-yard pass. Uh, so, and my second to that again is Mark Duper. So, Mark Duper filled my slot for second on both of those.
That's all right. There you go. There you go.
I love Duper, but he was our deep threat guy. That's who he was. He was our deep threat. We're going to get it going down the field. He had all the speed in the world back then. I used to love watching him get the ball, man.
You know who's a wild card? Because I mentioned Chambers, you mentioned Warfield, Clayton, and Duper. You've spoken great about all 3 of those guys. I bring up Chambers. I mean, Chambers was so fun to watch and was so reliable, and he didn't get enough. If he had a legitimate quarterback, he'd be in this conversation for sure. But another name that's not, I don't want to say in the recency area, fish tank, Jarvis Landry. Remember Landry, 4th all time in receptions for Miami, team receptions, led the NFL in catches in 2017. That's another guy that I would say, I mean, yes, OJ McDuffie, right? But, Jarvis Landry is a guy that, if you measure up, you're like, damn, man, he was really good. If that's another guy, if you go, man, if he had a quarterback, I mean, and I'm not hating on Tannehill, but if he had a legitimate guy, that's another guy who could, because he was 4th all time. He was that.
Yeah.
He was your Mr. Reliable. You throw his ball this way, he's going to come down with it. He's going to make a play. He was one of those guys. Tight end, fish tank. Where did you go on tight end?
This one was so hard, man. This was probably the hardest one. But I went with pure talent because we haven't really had great tight ends per se. We've had a few, but
you went Anthony Fasano.
For me, I would have to say actually, he didn't play a lot for Miami, but Keith Jackson.
Oh, okay.
I really liked Keith Jackson. He went to a couple Pro Bowls, and he was pretty good for Marino too. Especially a big body up the middle. When Marino wanted to dump it, and somebody that could plow through the cornerback or the safety, there he was doing it. So, he was great with that. And I think he could, I'm pretty sure he knew how to block a little bit.
So for me, I think you're right. I think it's a pretty tough that one is pretty tough because they all kind of blend in together.
Yeah.
But I went with the all-time franchise leader in receptions and yards among tight ends, and that's Randy McMichael.
Yeah.
I went with Randy McMichael. I mean,
Mhm.
that was another guy where when you threw the ball in his vicinity, you knew he was coming down with it. You knew he was going to make a play with it. So yeah, that's where I went. I went Randy McMichael on there. Craig says Joe Rose. There you go.
You
There you
know,
go.
I like, and that was my alternate was Randy McMichael. But for me, um, Jackson had Pro Bowls. Randy McMichael did not.
All
That's the
right.
only thing that gave him the edge. And Jackson only played for us for 2 years. So he did a lot in 2 years. But
All right. Left tackle.
ooh, we all know who that is. That's Richmond Webb.
7-time Pro Bowler and a franchise cornerstone for Miami. Should be in the Hall of Fame. Criminal that he's not. I'm with you, Richmond Webb. I don't think there's any real debate on left tackle.
Richmond Webb. Um, yeah, like you said, he had amazing starts too. 118 consecutive starts
Look at that.
as a left tackle. The man was a frickin' beast. Nicest and most genuine man you could ever meet in your life. Um, I've only talked to him a few times, but anytime I've reached out to him for anything Dolphins related, he's always been very, very generous to lend his time and energy to anything that I've ever asked from him. And he's just an amazing person.
There you go.
He really is.
And that,
A-
yeah.
And he protected Marino's blind side all through the '90s, and that's when your time.
There you go. Uh, left guard, fish tank.
Left guard. That would Larry Little.
Mm.
It's got to be Larry Little. Hall of Fame, 5-time first all team, 5 Pro Bowls, 72-73 run game. Yeah, yeah. It's gotta be him.
So this one, because I don't really. There's very few offensive linemen that I've seen that I'm like, oh man, that's one of the greats. That I could put there. So you got to go deep in research. I'll tell you what, I'm going to spoil it. Larry Little is on my ultimate team, but I have him at right guard. Left guard, I have. I'm going to butcher that name. Bob Kuchenberg, 6-time Pro Bowler.
Kuchenberg.
Kuchenberg, thank you, Fish Tank.
They used to call him the Cooch, and that's how he
Oh,
used
there
to
you go.
sign it. When he got tired of signing Kuchenberg, after a while, he just started signing things Cooch.
Yeah, easy enough. Obviously, played during the 72 team era, undefeated, 6-time Pro Bowler. You had to roll with that. So that's who
Yeah.
I went with. And then again, I spoil it. Larry Little's right there. He was my right guard, Hall of Famer, 5-time Pro Bowler, and was one of the anchors of that legendary run game with Mercury Morris, Kick, and Zonka.
Okay. I had them swapped out.
Okay, there you go. So there you go. We're together. We're on it. We had them
So
different.
yeah, I had Kuchenberg on the right
Right.
side, and 6-time Pro Bowler, 1-time All Pro, 15 seasons, third most starts in team history, and you know, um I think though, as far as who I would have backing up Larry Little, would be Keith Sims. Keith Sims was freaking amazing. Him and Richmond Webb, those two were like sugar and spice on that team. They were just completely amazing, those two together. They were like magic on that line. And Sims doesn't get enough accolades for what he did on that team. He really doesn't. And like I said, he was just completely amazing.
So I think that's a great alternate, Keith Sims. Another one I will go with, and that's again, this is more recent. Not real recent, but it would be Vernon Carey. Vernon Carey, for me, remembering, I mean, another guy, and Scott, I know hates this when I say this, but another guy who was versatile. You could put him at tackle, you could put him at guard. That's a guy that, and he was really consistent and good for Miami. I would roll with Vernon Carey with Keith Sims. Center, Fish Tank. Who'd you go with?
That's simple. Dwight Stevenson, bro. From 80 to 87. Best center in the in NFL history.
That's right.
5-time Pro Bowl, 4-time All Pro, Hall of Fame in 1998. Now, he anchored Marino's 1984 record setting line. So, I liked, man, the guy was just something else. I think he's the best we ever had.
So there's no real debate here. It's to be Dwight Stevenson, like Hank says, Hall of Famer, 5-time first team All Pro. When you talk about center or how good you can be as a center or greatness, it's Dwight Stevenson. So that's not, there's no even conversation there. We went over right guard. I went with Larry Little. Hank went with Cooch. We swapped. Right tackle.
Right tackle. Wow. This was kind of a hard one for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, me too.
I had to go, and kind of do research on this one because I sat there and I was like, man, who did we have? I know who you like from your era, but that's my alternate. However, I got to go with Norm Evans. Probably a name that most people don't
Norm
even
Evans.
know. And 2 times Pro Bowl. 91 consecutive starts. 91. He started in the 72, 73 Super Bowls. Reliable for run-heavy offense. He was from 66 to 75. And you can go ahead.
There you go. So I like that. I like that you said Norm Evans. This one was tough. Norm Evans is a great answer. I had to go and you said that you went that who was in my era. You said that
maybe Jake Long.
Okay, that would be left tackle. I thought about Jake because it's left tackle though. I'm gonna go with Todd Wade. Todd Wade was the right tackle for the Miami Dolphins for about 3 seasons. He was a solid starter, and he was the right tackle for Ricky Williams. He was one of those consistently good players for Miami on that line for that span, which was one of the best running games we had, which was with Ricky. So I went with Todd Wade at right tackle for Miami.
I just think you could take Jake Long and throw him over there, and he would have done just fine.
Yeah, but my thing was the way I did it. The way I saw it was I tried to keep them at their position.
I did, but
it
was an alternate.
It's fine. All right. Now
it was hard coming up with somebody.
I know it. Hey, you don't have to. It's all good, my man. I ain't judging. You know how I am. All right, Fish Tank. We're gonna go on to defense now. Well, before we get into defense, let's go ahead and welcome everybody who's just joining us.
Yo.
Those who attended training camp, we appreciate that you've hopped on here. We're talking about the Miami Dolphins Ultimate Team while also discussing training camp. A lot of noise coming out of training camp. I will say, I'm looking here. George of the Phins Faithful podcast will be live today on Phins Faithful podcast YouTube channel with his training camp weekly show at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So he was live at training camp. So if you guys want to get his viewpoint on it, go check out George and the Phins Faithful podcast and go subscribe to his channel. He got great stuff, man. But see Daniel up in here, Scotty, Wayne the Experience.
Yo,
A lot of
Scotty
love
was
on you.
giving us a great breakdown earlier, man.
Yeah, and I love what they were saying about the D-line. I mean, again, they said Mattinson looked real good with no pads, powerful. White looked elusive. Let me see here. Scotty says, I feel this practice was very structured. No messing around. If guys weren't on the field, they were doing drills on the sideline. I love it. Jordan Phillips is bigger in muscle mass than videos show him. That man is huge. Biggers is huge. Paul looks like a mountains. 7A is a beast. Jones is freaking huge. I love it. I love it. I forgot how big Chubb was. That dude is a beast. I'm going to tell you, again, I just want to say this because Fishnake and I haven't said it. We'll get into defense. So far, when you hear about the players punishing themselves and running sprints because they messed up on a couple plays, the way Tua answered the Tyreek question, when he said, you can't just, after what happened last year, you can't just say my bad and then it's over. He said Tyreek has to put in the work for us to trust him again. Basically, paraphrasing, I don't have the thing. But Tua's answer, if you have not seen that, I say go back and look. That's a leader. That showed signs of leadership from Tua Tagovailoa that we've been longing for and asking for. We know what he is when he's healthy. We know what he is when he plays his best. What we have not seen was his leadership. He kind of seemed like he always wanted to be a part of the group, the boys. He wanted to be coach's boy and everything else and his team friends. That was a leader. And that was that's telling a guy who most people view as the number one player in the NFL, number one receiver who struggled last year. He's telling a guy who's greater than him, hey, man, you can't just come back in here and say, we're all good. Quitting on the team, saying what you said, it's not going to just be, oh, I'm sorry, and we forgive. You have to show it on the field. And I'll just say, I felt really good about it. I was like, hey, you know what? I love that from Tua. And, maybe, and hopefully that spoke to Tyreek to say, oh, crap, this is for real. And Tyreek plays his best ball.
Well,
Scotty says,
I think Tua has been taught a lot by his father. Simply by his mannerisms, his procedures for taking care of things. And you could tell that his father had a lot of patience. And, he gives every opportunity for anybody to come in for redemption. He'll allow the redemption, but, probably just like his father used to do, you need to show me the redemption. You need to show me the work. And I seriously doubt that Tua hasn't already made statements of this sort when it's needed to any team member. I seriously doubt he holds back. He probably keeps it in private because you don't run around bashing people that are on your team. And he knows that too. And if he really had a butt ache with Tyreek Hill, I'm sure he expressed himself square with him by now. But like I said, I truly see Tua as one of those people that has had a lot of great advice and guidance from his father. His father is a special person to raise such a young man. So I give his father a lot of props in his actions and lack of actions toward the public's knowledge.
And that's a good thing, too, about Tua, the way he answered. It wasn't a attack. It wasn't
No.
attacking Tyreek the way he responded. If you get the chance to go watch it, do it, because it's not like he was answering a question. It wasn't an attack. It wasn't like, oh, it's going to make Tyreek feel small. It was just basically, hey, you know what? He apologized. We've seen him do this, but it's not just a my bad. You can't just do that. You're going to have to show up and before we can start to earn that. And that's what felt good. Randy experience. Damn right, Bobby. Proud of Tua for keeping it real. And if anyone is mad or don't like it, too bad. That's a true leader. It's not just going to be, okay, you're good, Reek, water under the bridge. Now I love it. True. That's the thing. Hey, I'm not going to hold it against you. We're good. We're teammates. I'm going to play with you. We're going to kick ass together. But this is not kumbaya. You're gonna have to show that you want to be here, and that's what I got from it. And I was very proud of Tua and excited to see. Scotty says today Hill did run all the way down the field on a play that was really dead and ran all the way back, basically 2 100-yard sprints. Love it, love it. Let's see here.
Right, I don't know. For me, I don't know. I guess running sprints kind of sucks, but I don't know. I would be a little more creative at this point in time in my life, other than having somebody run back and forth to hold them responsible. How about when they're done and when it's called quits, staying behind with me, and we can work on whatever drill it was together?
I think what he was trying to say, Fish Tank, was after a play went dead, like instead of quitting because he saw the ball was out of bounds or whatever, he kept running down the field, and instead of walking back, he ran all the way back, basically showing his heart was in it.
Yeah.
You know,
I totally get it, bro. I'm just saying, for me, I like to look at all sides of it.
Sure. Let me see here. I want to make sure I get this in.
What are you putting in?
Oh, nothing. You know me, working 1,000 things at once here.
All right. I know.
You know I am. So, run defense now. Here we go.
Woohoo!
So we got the left end, D tackle 1, D tackle 2, right end, Fish Tank. So let's stick with the left end, and this is probably the easiest one of the easiest ones, Fish Tank. Would you like me to go, or would you like to go?
You go ahead and go first.
I'm happy to, because this guy is my favorite Dolphin of all time, next to Zach Thomas.
He's a pretty darn good one to have.
You know, when you talk Dolphins, you can't, Zach, Ricky, Dan, of course, Jason Taylor, Hall of Famer, 6-time Pro Bowler, former Defensive Player of the Year, defensive icon, game changer, game breaker. He would win games for us. Quarterbacks hated playing against him. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning hated when they saw him on the other side of the field. 139.5 sacks. Beast. There's no player, to me, when I think of the Dolphins, I think of Jason Taylor. And, of course, Zach Thomas, but Jason Taylor's that guy. Seeing him in a Jets uniform was disgusting. Washington uniform, Commanders, what we call it, disgusting. Seeing him in a Dolphins uniform, beautiful. My favorite Dolphin, that's my left end ultimate Dolphin, Fish Tank.
I'm right there with you. I mean, he was chopped up when he played for us. I mean, he was 97 to 2007, so he was there for 10 straight years. That's not a short period, you know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
And that was when our defense, which was amazing, we never had a defense with Marino, but then our defense was better than our offense, with him, like you said, all those other people, Zach Thomas and everybody else on the team. 3 times first team All-Pro, Hall of Fame in 2017. I mean, there's not a lot you left out, So I guess I'll go to my alternative for that spot.
Okay.
And that would be Cameron Wake for me. I would put Cameron Wake on the left side. If I couldn't put Jason Taylor, it would be Cameron Wake. He was with the team for around 9 or 10 years also. And he was around 100 sacks or so, give or take. But Taylor's pure dominance on that side, just, forget about it. You're not going to beat that. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. I will say I'm a spoiler at right end. That's where I put Cameron Wake. I do have Cameron Wake at the right end spot. Fish Tank, 5-time Pro Bowler, 98 career sacks with Miami, explosive edge rusher. I hate the way it ended with him. I wish he had finished his career in Miami or had come back. There you go, Trace Armstrong, love it. D tackle, Fish Tank. Who do you have D tackle 1?
Let me finish up with the DNs
Okay.
because I had a couple more for the other side,
Okay, go ahead, sir.
which was Bill Stanford. He
Mm.
he was there from 69 to 76. He had around 70 sacks, former franchise record, two-time first team, All Pro, five-time Pro Bowl, and he was part of the no-name defense.
Mm-hmm.
See? That's why you gotta give him props. Um, and he was in 72 and 73, of course. And then, like somebody else already said, my alternative to that side would be Trace Armstrong.
I love it. I love it. All right. So moving on. Also Trace
Moving on.
Armstrong is a great answer. Back in the day, not back in the day, Dolphins, Jason Taylor defense, Wadley and Goulier. Do you remember him? He
Yeah.
went to the Bears. He had a solid year with Miami. He was really good. Defensive tackle 1. I got 2 on there.
Yeah.
And I'll just say my 1 and 2 Fishing, and then you take it over.
All right.
I'm gonna go with Tim Bowens. I love
Yeah.
Tim Bowens, man. Always think about that dude when I think of that Dolphins defense back in my young Tim Bowens. He was an anchor in the middle for the 90s team, defensive rookie of the year. Love him. And then I'm gonna go stick with that 72 defense. Manny Fernandez. That's my D tackle 1 and 2 Fish Tank. Those guys are huge. I mean, that defensive front, Fish Tank, we're rolling with that. Either way, right? I'm thinking my defensive front: Jason Taylor, Tim Bowens, Manny Fernandez, Cameron Wake. Oh, look out! What do you got, Fish Tank?
Hey, I went a little different direction than you.
I love it. I love it.
I do that a lot.
I know.
I like the defensive tackle, Bob Baumhauer. That's who I like.
Ooh, I like it. All
Now,
right.
that's 77 to 86, somewhere in there. And let me tell you why. He was a five-time Pro Bowl, one-time All-Pro, part of the Killer Bees, the leader, dominant run stopper in the 80s. And to him, my alternative would be Manny Fernandez from 68 to 75. Uh, you know, Baumhauer's Pro Bowls edge him out slightly. That's the difference for me. The other side of the house, I had Tim Bowens, which you've already said. I mean, come on. The guy had like 23 sacks, two-time Pro Bowler, 94 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, and anchored the 90s, as you already said. He anchored that 90s defense for, quite a while. So, but if I had to go with somebody else, my alternative for him would be Randy Starks.
Oh, wow. Okay. Good name.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
But Bowens, we all know he had a much bigger impact. But Randy Starks, if I had to put somebody as my top two are Baumhauer and Bowens. But if I had to put in a backup, Randy Starks would be it for me, definitely. I
All right.
liked him.
There you go. All right. Let's move on to linebackers here. This one was fun. So we got our left linebacker, our middle linebacker, and our right linebacker. Let's go with the easy one, Fish Tank. Maybe middle linebacker. You want to take this?
I just went with three linebackers. I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
which one to put where because there was so many good ones, to be honest with you. We've had a lot of good linebackers. And you got to start with the greatest one that we've had, as one of the greatest, of course. I know you like your ear, but I'm still going to go with Nick Bonacati.
Yeah. Okay.
I got to take him hands down. I mean, he was there for 6, 7 years, and he was in the Hall of Fame in 2001, 2 times Pro Bowl, 2 times All Pro. He was the cerebral leader for that 72-73.
The no name
Uh,
defense.
the no name defense. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so that's
Let
one.
me tell you who
Yeah.
his alternate would have been, and that would have been John Offerdahl.
Okay.
I really like John Offerdahl, 86, 93, 94. And Bonaconti's titles take over, though. So that was my first
Yeah,
linebacker.
you got two more. Yes, sir. So
You
that's
want
an
me to do
outside
them all?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Outside linebackers one. So you got
All right.
one, and that's Badakani. So who's your
I'll
middle
blow them
linebacker?
all out right
Go ahead.
now.
Go ahead.
Zach Thomas, 1996, 2007. Franchise tackle leader. 1,042 some odd or 40 something, 50 something solo tackles. 5-time team All Pro, 7-time Pro Bowl, 2000s All Decade team, and he was obviously the defensive heart back when it was running. His alternate for me, he didn't play long for the Dolphins, but I gotta say, Junior Seau. He wasn't a big part of Miami's
Oh
team. He
man.
didn't do a lot for Miami, but he was on our team, and I would take him. If Zach wasn't there, I'd take Junior Seau and stick him in his spot any day. And then my third
So
one,
I just
yes,
want to
sir.
say Junior Seau was one of my favorite Dolphins. I loved Junior Seau growing up. Loved him on the Chargers. So when I was younger, right, obviously Ralph was a diehard Dolphin fan. We moved into the house when I was 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember how old I was when we moved when my mom and Ralph met or when we moved into his house. But Dolphins, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I was really getting into football. I remember that even though we were watching Dolphins, and it was that was the Marino and all this. I kept looking at the Chargers, that uniform, the Thunderbolt, and all that. And I was like, and I remember my dad for Christmas got me a Chargers pillow. So that's how I had a Chargers pillow. So that would always be, oh, Bobby's team, second team was the Chargers. Really, I was always Dolphins. But Doug Flutie, Junior Seau, Junior Seau was like, to me, the epitome of a linebacker. That dude was, and so when he signed with the Dolphins and he was with the Dolphins, love that guy. When he passed away untimely, it was one of the saddest things. I remember I was like, that sucked. So I love that you bring up Junior Seau. That was challenging for me because I didn't have him on. I was very close to putting him on the list, but I had to keep him off. And I'll say it why. But go ahead, your other linebacker, Fish Tank.
Hey, I'll take Junior Seau in his prime any day.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
We didn't, we weren't. I was like Junior Seau. He's got to be in place of Zach Thomas. I didn't know who else could take Zach Thomas's spot. So, um, and then my third starter, once again, he was an alternate, would be John Offerdahl. 5-time Pro Bowl, 2-time All Pro, elite tackler, and coverage linebacker despite injury shortened career. And behind him would be AJ Dewey, 77, 84. But Offerdahl's accolades, they beat him out.
Man, that is a great list, Fish Tank. I really love it. I'll go with the easy one for me just to start it off, and it's Zach Thomas. Right? If I've said Jason Taylor is my favorite Dolphin, Zach Thomas is, if it's a 1A 1B, it's 1A 1B. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you could put either one there. I mean, first of all, Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, for me, two of the in their prime when they played for Miami, two of the nicest guys you could meet. Took time to talk with the fans, always take time to talk to the fans and give them time, and always play with their hearts on their sleeve. Zach Thomas, Hall of Famer, 7-time Pro Bowler, the heart and soul of the defense for over a decade in Miami. Can't go anyone other than Zach Thomas in that middle linebacker spot.
You know,
Go ahead.
I was disappointed. I tried to see Zach Thomas once, and It was a game. It was a weird game. I don't remember if it was like a preseason or whether it was during the season. I know there was snow, and I was at the Patriots because I was in the Coast Guard then, and they had to come back on the field to end the play, or the game was basically over. They made him come back on the field for something like 3 or 10 seconds. And I'll tell you, by the time they were getting on the bus, they were pretty pissed off that they had to come out to begin with for 3 seconds or something, that nobody could,
Yeah.
they would have to score like 2 or 3 touchdowns, is my point, in 3 seconds or whatever. So, uh, but Zach Thomas, I tried to get his autograph, but no, they weren't having any of that. They were getting on the bus and
Get
getting
it
out
out of
of
there.
town. And I didn't blame them. I did
Yeah.
not,
I will say multiple occasions for Zach and Jason. I remember we would go out after the game at Hard Rock. It was Joe Robbie or Pro Player, maybe
yeah,
Larry.
yeah.
We were outside, and Ralph and Mom, we went around and we'd wait by the gate, and they would walk out of the gate. And I have a signed Zach Thomas jersey on my wall right now, and a Dan Marino. Ralph was Zach Thomas's jersey. Dan Marino's jersey was my mother, and I had Dan Marino signed front and back, and Zach on the back. But Zach, I remember, came out, signed Ralph's jersey, sat there and talked with us. Jason Taylor came out, talked to us. Very fond memories. I know Zach Thomas is still very much involved with Miami, talking with fans, going on shows, DCC. Shout out to Zach.
Yeah.
Dan Marino was that multiple occasions. I met Dan, and that was that time where he drove out. He was in a truck, and I remember he's very short. He signed it, but it was very short. He, signed, and then somebody came up and he just drove off. He had his son in the car, so I don't blame him for that. He was the one that was a little short, but that's just what it was. I don't blame him for that. You got to go, But Zach and Jason only have fond memories of them. So my other linebackers, I'm gonna go different here, Fish Tank. Love
All
your
right.
answers. Nick Badakani obviously is a great answer. Leader, one of the leaders of that no-name defense. I'm gonna go with Brian Cox, 3-time Pro Bowler. Was intense, played with an attitude, versatile linebacker. You put him in any spot. Awesome guy. I love his picture. And then I'm gonna go with another one. Had one elite season with Miami. He wasn't here very long, but the one elite season he had with Miami was definitive and one of the best ones we've ever seen from a Dolphins linebacker. If he wasn't playing great, he was still one of the leaders, brought that intensity onto the field. And that was Joey Porter. I had to roll with Jerry Porter, 17 and a half sacks in 2008, excuse me. I went with Joey Porter. It was tough because I was going to go with Junior Seau there to try to be different, but then, you can't ignore that elite. What he was able to do when he played for Miami in that 1 year was like one of the best years by a Dolphins defensive player ever. Next to Jason Taylor was Joey Porter. What he did that 1 year in Miami. That one elite year for Miami was that 17 and a half sack season.
I
ahead.
got Brian Cox's when I was out in Hawaii. And I
Love that.
I used to work in Wahiwa. And
Here you go.
it used to be close to the middle of the pineapple fields and all that other stuff, and it just smells so beautiful going to work. It would make you hungry before you got there. You know what I
I
mean?
bet.
So, especially fat guy like me. So, but yeah, we used to do some stuff out there, and I met Brian Cox briefly. He was standing by Bruce Smith.
There you go.
And I said,
Wow.
I had a Marino jersey on, and I said, hey, can I get an autograph? And this was like 93, 92, somewhere in there. And he gave me this giant, nice, beautiful signature on the front of the jersey. And he goes, and that's the last one I'm doing while I'm here at the Pro Bowl, because I'm here to enjoy myself. And I feel like I'm back home in Miami. And I said, thank you very much. I let him know I was in the Coast Guard and stuff, and that I appreciated him doing that for me. And my wife was there, and she was also in the Coast Guard too.
Oh, there you go.
So it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We went to the Pro Bowl, and I don't remember if I met Junior Seau there or not for autographs. I can't remember, but that was in '93. But
There
there
you
was a
go.
lot of Pro Bowlers there,
I
and
bet.
Jim
That's when the Pro Bowl was
Harbaugh.
fun. That was when it mattered. Now the Pro Bowl won't matter as much. At least the actual Pro Bowl. I guess still getting a Pro Bowl matters, but going to a Pro Bowl is not as fun anymore, I don't think.
Not the same.
It's
They
not.
play
No.
they
Back
play
then,
game. They play like flag something and
yeah,
jump through stuff and
I used to enjoy watching the Pro Bowl. I don't anymore. Corners. We got QB1 and QB2, Fish Tank. And then we got safeties. Where are you on QB1 and QB2? Are we different? Let's find out.
you said cornerbacks,
Yep.
corners.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, all right. I would have to go on one side. I would have to put Dick Anderson.
Mm.
And Dick Anderson, 34 interceptions. Second in franchise history. 3 times Pro Bowler, 2 times All Pro, 1970s All Decade Team, and he was also a 2-time Super Bowl champion.
Love it. All right, QB2.
Okay. On the other side of him, it would have to be Sam Madison, of course. Sam Madison was with us for about 8 or 9 years. He got 31 interceptions, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2 times first team, All Pro, shutdown corner in the late 90s. So, I mean, you just can't, both of those, they were the top. So I had to go with them. Do you want to know who my alternatives are?
You could absolutely
All
go
right.
ahead with your alternatives.
Well, backing up Sam Madison, I would put Xavier Howard in there, obviously, for 29 interceptions. But Madison's Pro Bowls edge him out is what changed those two for me. And the other one would be Patrick Surtain, of course, or Surtain, however he likes to be called. He was about 6 years. But Anderson's titles, once again, I have to give some leeway to those championships. I mean, they don't usually trump every single thing, but they weigh heavy on that decision for me, especially when you had all those great ones we had: Howard, Madison, Surtain, Anderson. I mean, those are some like baller names for us. So it was hard to pick from them.
Absolutely. It was I understand it being a tough it was a tough decision. For me, and again, you could say it's biased or whatever. You can't say Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor without Sam Madison and Pat Surtain. Those were my 1 and 2 Fish Tank. First off, Sam Madison, 4-time Pro Bowler, lockdown corner, 3-time Pro Bowler for Pat Surtain, and then it was an elite duo with Sam Madison. Love those guys. Those two with Zach Thomas and Jason Taylor, they were fun to watch. And
Yeah.
they were my favorite cornerback duo in Miami history. Of course, Xavier Howard is in that discussion. Anderson, as you brought up, those guys for sure. I hear you. But I'm rolling with Sam Madison and Pat Surtain. Moving on to free safety. You think Sam Madison, Pat Surtain, free safety? I'm going to go stay in that era. I'm going to go with Brock Marion, 2-time Pro Bowler, was always solid in coverage, very good tackler. He was always consistent, loved him. And then when you go with strong safety, I'm going to wrap that up, Fishing, and then you follow up. Jake Scott. It's your boy, Jake Scott, Super Bowl MVP, ball hawk, defensive leader.
The original number 13.
That's right. There you go. So, yeah. So my defensive back for Miami, the secondary, Sam Madison, Pat Surtain, Brock Marion, Jake Scott, Fish Tank. How are you looking at safety?
Well, you look at Jake Scott, first of all. how many safeties have ever been the MVP? You know,
Mm-hmm.
just him. And um, 35 interceptions was a franchise record. Um, 5-time Pro Bowler, 2 times All Pro, and of course, he was the 1972 hero on that, team. How else would he have gotten the MVP? So I can't say anything bad about him. And then, yeah, for me, I really liked Rashad Jones.
Mm.
I really, his backup to Jake Scott for me would have been Rashad Jones. Played about 9, 10 years with us. Had around 20 some odd interceptions. But, again, I give the championship leeway over to Jake Scott as my first safety. My second would have been Lewis Oliver. Um, why? He had 24 interceptions. Oh, man, he used to hit. When he hit, he was going for the knockout. Oliver did not play around. And he was a early key to the 1990s defense being such a success, too. Um, and to him, an alternate again would be Rashad Jones. I gotta put him. I gotta put him in his alternate. I mean, 776 tackles, but Oliver's interceptions just blow that away. So
There you go. There you go. Um, so let me see here.
I threw you off today, didn't I?
No, I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I love that it wasn't all, one on, same old, same old. Uh, Sorry, my wife was just filling me in on the cat situation, so I'm gonna have to get out there pretty quick. But kicker, all-time kicker for me. I don't know if that's even there, Fish Tank, but I'll just say it very quick, and you let me know. Elindo More
Yep.
had the role with that. And I think of Dolphins kickers, and I always compare them to Elindo More. All-time leader in points, clutch kicker throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. Punter was tough for me.
What?
Was it not for you?
Really?
Who is it?
That's the easiest one for me. Reggie Roby.
There you go. Okay.
From
Okay.
83 to 92, 46.3 yards around
That's
his
who I had, but it
average.
was default. That's who I had, but it was default because I was researching. I was like, oh, look at his things. I mean, but I can't really think too much because it's punter. I know that sounds bad. I'm not trying to negate.
He helped us out immensely. That
I'm
guy
gonna
used
roll
to
with you.
kick. He used to kick the ball up and hit his own stopwatch and see how long the ball was up till it got to the guy catching.
There you
I
go.
was like, holy crap! No, he was phenomenal. You had Matt Hack.
Yeah.
And as far as Olinde Mare, he was like over 80% field goal accuracy with 3 times Pro Bowl. But Gary O. Yepremian, he would be my backup for place kicker or specialist, whatever you call them.
Okay.
But Mari's points,
There you
they
go.
just. Um, I have a return specialist,
Yeah, go for it.
Wes Welker.
Yeah.
1,100 punt yards, uh, like 3,000 kick return yards in 3 seasons. Explosive before Patriots fame.
Yeah,
And
that's it. Before he was considered a elite receiver or slot receiver, what he was able to do in New England, he was an electric return man for the Dolphins.
yeah,
So it was always one of those regrettable decisions, where we let him go, and then you see what he did, and you're like, man, what did we miss out on? Obviously, but
hmm
yeah, Wes Welker's a great answer.
and his alternate would have been Jake Scott for me. Well,
Really, okay,
see, he played offense and defense.
yeah, I
And
would.
somebody that could do that, hey, they get my props.
Hey,
You get
Wes
mine.
Welker. Wes Welker is my kick return specialist. And my alternates would either been either Ted Ginn or Jakeem Grant. One of those
Yeah,
two
yeah.
guys. That's
I
probably
like
where I'm
Ted
going.
Ginn, boy, but he just
Yeah. Yeah,
He didn't do what he could have. You know, he could have
no,
been so much more.
I absolutely. That's why I don't hate. I don't now looking back. I understood the selection. I just don't. I just think he was picked up by at the wrong time. I think he could have been something more than what he was. Just obviously he should never been that ninth pick, but it is what it is. Anywho, again, training camp starting off. A lot of great information from the crew. We got some information from social media, from Scotty and Daniel and the Wayne D experience.
Hey,
Yeah,
can I say one more thing?
yeah.
I just wanted to, just say in 1972, I know you wasn't around, so I'd like to give you a little extra. Earl Morrall was
Yeah.
arguably the better quarterback during that time. How many relief quarterbacks do you know that come in and go 9-0?
Mm-hmm.
9-0. That was phenomenal. And, I can't let it go by without mentioning this man because without him, we would have never had the undefeated season. And he came in and did it with 9 games. I was like, holy mackerel. And, I know you have your favorites from your time for, what was most popular for you. But for me, I tried to balance like the 72-73 dynasty, Zonka Warfield,
Yeah.
Little Bonacati, Scott, along with Marino's 80-90 era. But, Clayton Webb, all those. Few modern standouts, Welker, Jones, But a lot of it came from the 72-73 season where I had to kind of put them above a little bit of what the other guys have done. But Marino's stats, Zonka's yards, 12 Hall of Famers. There was a lot to go through, bro. There was a lot to go through.
Absolutely. It's not an easy list. It's not an easy list. And then for me,
No.
it's, I got to go, man, this is what I saw. And, but again, it's like, how can you ignore any of these other guys? So that's why I was trying to keep it for me, trying to, think about what I did see and what I did appreciate. And then also, but have to include the greats in there, which are all great, and I think anybody's list would be understandable and debatable and accepted.
Hey, you came up with a few that I wasn't expecting too. So
there you go. Hey, there you go. So, we're at an hour and about 37 minutes in. We got 115 people tuning in live from all our channels. We appreciate you all watching. You're watching Phins Talk today here on FTSN. I am not done today. I do got to run because, dealing with my cat situation, Nina, she's 16 years old and it might be at the end there. So we're dealing with that. But, later today, I will be on live again at 5 p.m. Eastern time for a No Holds Barred Wrestling podcast talking about the passing of Hulk Hogan. So make sure you join us for that. Again, for Dolphin fans wanting more Dolphins content, don't forget to tune in to Finn's Faithful Podcast at 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. Eastern time with George and Jason Sarney. They were at the training camp, so they'll be giving more information. And join me and Fish Tank Hank again next Saturday for more training camp talk and maybe another fun episode, maybe something like this. Basically, it's always fun with Fish Tank. But
I think this is our record.
Yeah, we're going on pretty long here. Well,
an hour and 40 minutes. This is like
not including
for you and I on this show.
Yeah.
I think this is the longest we've ever been on.
I know it. So, Fish Tank, any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Yeah, I'm getting thirsty. I've been eating these babies. I don't know if you saw me munching on a few of them. They're they're pepperoncinis.
Oh,
spicy peppers.
Okay.
And well, I ran out of stuff to drink.
Oh, oh gosh. Well, there you go. I don't know if you did see the last couple episodes of East Head Street Boys, but the other, I tried out. It's disgusting. What I thought it was pickles, and I've gotten grossed out of pickles the last few years because there was one. I had a coworker who one day I saw her with a bag of pickles, and I just after a while after I got comfortable, like, what the hell are you doing? That's all you eat? And she's like, and so she had fun with it. So she'll drink pickle juice, and so after a while I was like, I've just got sick of pickles. Sonic has a pickle menu now, and they made a pickle slushy.
Oh, Jesus.
And so what I did, Fish Tank.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding?
No, if you got to go back, I'll have to send you the clip. Tati went out and bought the pickle slushy because I don't like it at all. I don't like, I'm not a fan of pickles. So I said, I'll try it live on air. And Hank, it was absolutely disgusting.
Oh,
and they
man,
had
I can't even imagine.
They had boba balls in there.
Whose balls?
Boba balls. You know, those little boba from boba tea. And like Tati goes, "Oh, they're probably sweet. Just try them." And Alex on the show goes, "Put the balls in your mouth." I'm like, "Hey," So I put the little boba balls there, and it was basically pickle juice in these things. It was horrible, disgusting. So
I like certain pickles, but I get this one over here at the diner, man, and it's like, I don't know if they call it a half sour or what the hell they call it, but holy mackerel, it is just it doesn't taste like a cucumber, doesn't taste like a pickle. It tastes like something like a mickle.
Oh my gosh.
Miserable pickle is what I call it. So I call it a mickle.
So the last episode, because I'm the one who's been trying stuff, Fish Tank, on the show. And the last episode, I told Alex, you need to try something. And Alex,
I need to try some. Wait a minute. You've never tried anything on this show.
No. I told Alex he needed to try something since I tried everything. So last Thursday, he did the hot chip challenge.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, I had tears in my eye laughing so hard. He's like, "Oh, it's not that bad." I was like, "Oh, it was great." So that was fun. So if you guys haven't got a chance to watch those episodes, do tune in.
When you go on a ship and you used to get to do all these rites of passages, and you become a dragon or a golden dragon or a golden shellback or whatever. I was a golden dragon, and I've had to eat some pretty nasty stuff, bro. Like they made us like green pancakes and all green food for breakfast. And then right after that, they were squirting squid juice in my mouth. It's like this black stuff, and it is so gross. It's not even funny. Then I had to eat peanut butter out of somebody's stomach. And there was a cherry shoved all the way in the guy's stomach. So I had to crawl through this forever tunnel of garbage that had sat out for 2 weeks that I personally had to go pick all the metal and stuff out of to make sure nobody got hurt.
For those just tuning in, I promise.
And then you just left it rot out there for about a week or two, and we all had to crawl through it. People were vomiting in it, so you're crawling through somebody's vomit. And so, but that's how it used to be. It's not quite like that.
I hope not. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
To sail to the middle of nowhere basically is an impressive thing.
Sure.
I could tell you, being out there and thinking to myself, damn, we'd be screwed here.
Yeah, there's a documentary on Netflix, and we're about to wrap up, everybody who's watching, but there's a documentary on Netflix right now, Fish Tank, called The Poop Cruise.
The Poop Cruise.
Yes, Tati and Audrey just watched it, and it was about the cruise that lost power in the middle of the ocean, the Carnival Cruise Line, and the toilets are electric, so it all started overflowing, and people had to sleep on the decks. So if you really want to talk about getting lost out in the middle of the ocean, watch that. I mean, my goodness, I told Tati I would have jumped overboard. That's it. I would not be living in that. But anyway.
What we did for the Haitians, because we had Haitian migrants trying to come to America, so we had a boat full of them. We would take a 55-gallon drum, and we built a wooden seat that went on top of that, and that's what they used. Once they'd fill that up, we'd dump it over the side in the middle of the ocean. We dumped it over the side, and one guy was screaming. And as he was screaming, it all went in his face and his mouth.
Oh, my gosh. All right. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Phins Talk today. Dolphins training camp. Shout out to Quinn Ewers for having a solid day in front of the fans. We'll wait on news for Kader Kohu, who went down
Thank
with
you
an injury.
again, Scotty.
And but supposedly he's okay. We'll see how that goes. There's some reports that he might be all right. We'll look at that. Dolphins do sign Jack Jones, corner from formerly the Raiders, and Mike Hilton, nickel corner from Cincinnati. So 2 corners signed. They did sign Cordell Armstrong, who they drafted a few years back. Did that again. I will be back on 5 p.m. Eastern time for No Holds Barred, talking about the passing of Hulk Hogan and his impact on wrestling.
Man, Ozzy and then Hulk.
Ozzy and Hogan.
They say it happens in threes.
Well, this is the thing. The son from the Cosby Show, he drowned, and then Ozzy. And my mother-in-law told me, she goes, "Can you believe it? The one from the Cosby Show, now Ozzy." I said, "Well, there's someone else coming because it always happens in threes." And then Hulk Hogan passed away. So, and the way he passed away is just sad, And again, I'll say it. I grew up. Hogan made me fall in love with wrestling. He was my favorite wrestler growing up. Friend, when he was Hulkamania to the New World Order, and he made wrestling what it is today. So
WrestleMania 1, Madison Square Garden, baby.
Oh my goodness. That's the one thing I've seen Ric Flair wrestle. I've seen them all. Even though Hogan is I never got a chance to see Hogan. I don't remember, at least. I've been to Nitro.
Wow.
That's the one thing I will be like, damn, dude, I never got a chance to meet or get to see Hogan live. And he was my favorite growing up, So anyway, we appreciate all those tuning in. I'm going to go check on the cat. It looks like it's a little dire there, so I'm going to go do that. For Fish Tank Hank, I'm Bobby Finstock. We'll be back next Saturday live, 12 noon for Fins Talk Today. Like, subscribe, and most importantly, Fins Up Miami.
Fins up.